يكتب التاريخ انه ب7 تشرين الاول 2023 بلش تخطيط ابادة وتهجير شعب غزة من قبل دولة اسرائيل المحتلة.
موطني الجلال والجمال والسناء والبهاء في رباك في رباك.
رح يكتب التاريخ انه اقوى دول العالم بل كل العالم دعم اسرائيل بشتى انواع المساعدة، بينما كل الدول العربية تخلت عن غزة وعن اهلها وفتحت احضانها وبلادها لدولة اسرائيل المحتلة.
People said you have to work your way outside in, first inside out. First peace with the Palestinians, peace with the Arab world. I think realistically it's going to be the other way around.
But
if we make peace with Saudi Arabia, it depends on the Saudi leadership, and bring effectively the Arab-Israeli conflict to an end, I think we'll circle back to the Palestinians and get a workable peace with the Palestinians. I think that's possible, and I think that's the way to go.
We have good negotiations continue till now. We got to see where it will go. We hope that it will reach a place that it will ease the life for the Palestinians and get Israel back, as a player in Middle East.
So you think, if you were to characterize it, are you close?
Every day we get closer. It seems it's for the first time real one, serious. We got to see how it goes.
وإن معارك بيرشيبة وبطاح فلسطين لتشهد بأن أبنائكم الذين ذهبوا ليدافعوا عن وطنهم وطن إخوانهم لم يعد منهم إلا ربعهم وقد استشهدوا على أرض فلسطين العزيزة. وإذا كان هناك الآن من يقول بأن العرب يقبلوا بقرارات الأمم المتحدة فإننا نرفض ذلك رفضا باتا، لأننا أيها الإخوان إذا قبلنا بقرارات الأمم المتحدة فعلينا أن نعترف بدولة الصهاينة لأن الأمم المتحدة معترفة به، وإذا قبلنا بقرارات الأمم المتحدة فلنقبل بتقسيم فلسطين، وهذا ما لا يمكن أن نقبله أو نرضى عنه، ولو أجمع العرب جميعا على أن يرضوا بوجود إسرائيل وبتقسيم فلسطين فلن ندخل معهم في هذا الاتفاق. إن القدس الشريف يناديكم ويستغيث بكم أيها الإخوة لتنقذوه من محنته ومما ابتلي به، فماذا يخيفنا؟ هل نخشى الموت؟ وهل هناك موتة أفضل وأكرم من أن يموت الإنسان مجاهدا في سبيل الله؟
حرق قلبي يا أخي خايف، نجيب لك حلوة من أرض البحرين العريقة، حلويات شويطر بالعافية عليك
حبيبي. يعطيك ألف عافية. نورت إسرائيل بوجودك معنا.
מה שלומך? למדתי בזום, אונליין אדוני.
אתה מוכשר מאוד. קודם כל אני רוצה לברך אותך כנציג ממשלת איחוד האמירויות ונציג נאמן של השייח מוחמד בן זייד, מנהיג גדול, על התרומה שלך לשלום. זה שלום היסטורי, אמרתי, זה לא רק בין מנהיגים, זה בין העמים, אתה מבטא את זה תרתי משמע. אז באמת מברוק ותודה רבה לך.
תודה רבה לכל היהודים והישראלים באיחוד האמירויות, ואני מקווה לראות אותך בקרוב.
אני מאוד מחכה לראות אותך גם באיחוד האמירויות, אבל אני רוצה גם לראות אותך פה. אז אני מבקש, זו בקשה אישית שלי, שאתה תצטרף למשלחת כשתבוא לארץ, אתה תתקבל פה באהבה גדולה, כמו שקיבלתם את המשלחת שלנו.
בעזרת השם. בעזרת השם, אדוני.
תודה רבה, אינשאללה אומרים.
אינשאללה.
Today we stand together with Israel, we thrive together, we fight against one enemy, we live in peace and prosperity and coexistence and mutual culture and religion understanding. And no, it's not just about business. No, it's not. It's about everything. It's everything that relates to an Israeli and a Bahraini and a UAE, Emirati, for them to live in safe and healthy environment and happier than after. And yes, from now on, no one should ever hush us by calling us Zionists. In fact, if being a Zionist means building and developing and bringing joy to people and humanity, then we all are.
لكن الذي يحزنني كثيرا والله سكوت الدول الإسلامية عن هذا، ولا كان الواجب أن تقطع العلاقات بين روسيا من كل وجه، ولو فعلوا ذلك لوقفت روسيا عند حدها ولن يضرهم شيئا. ولكن مع الأسف أن الدول الإسلامية، وأعني بذلك رؤوس الدول الإسلامية، دعنا من الشعوب قد يكون عندها حماس وغيرها لكن ما تستطيع، ساكتة ولم تتكلم بشيء. هذا والله الذي يحزنني. جمهورية مسلمة فتية حديثة يفعل بها هذه الأفاعيل واسكت. تخرج المرأة بأطفالها عن يمين وشمال وفي حضنها على صدرها من الأطفال يقتلها البرد والصقيع لا تدري أين تدفن أولادها. أهذا يرضى به عقل فضلا عن إيمان؟ ولكن أخشى أن يعم الله تعالى هذه الدول الإسلامية بعقوبة لا يستطيعون الإخلاص منها.
الدمعة تصرخ يا ضمير، والطفل يبكي ويستجيب. يا رب من غيرك لهم نعم الولي ونعم النصير.
رح يكتب التاريخ عن غزة العزة الحرة الأبية اللي قدرت بإيمان شعبها وصمودهم أنه يغلبوا أقوى دول العالم. قدروا يسقطوا المنظمات الدولية، بل أسقطوا النظام العالمي كله، أسقطوا الديمقراطية الغربية الكاذبة، أسقطوا أمريكا وأوروبا وبريطانيا وكل شعاراتهم الكاذبة. وبلش العد العكسي عند الغرب، لأنه الشعب ما بقى ينضحك عليه وينغسل دماغه ويقنعوه أنه الإسلام والمسلمين هن الإرهاب، لأنه الشعب المسيحي بالغرب صار يعرف متيقن مين المجرم ومين الظالم ومين المظلوم. ويا رب يجي دور المسيحيين بالشرق ويعرفوا أعداء الإسلام اللي عم يضلوهم عن سبيل الله.
كيف اللي بالعهد القديم بالوصايا، والوصايا اللي ما زلنا كمسيحيين نحن حافظينها، هي مو بس لليهود، وصايا الرب ما بتتغير. كيف بده يوصي ويقول لا تقتل، ومحرم على إنسان أنه يقتل إنسان، ومحرم أنه نفس يكون مسؤول عن قتل نفس. بده يجي ببساطة بالقرآن لمحمد ولأتباعه ويقول له قاتلوهم واقتلوهم وصلب، واللي ما بده يآمن بالله ورسوله ضرب الرقاب وقطع. شوفي ليه؟
There is no mercy. Hence the reason why the Torah in the book of Deuteronomy, chapter 20, verse 16, says, rules of war, lo techayeh kol neshama, do not allow anyone to remain alive. Nothing. No mercy. Furthermore, the book of Deuteronomy, chapter 25, verse 19, machoed zecher Amalek, completely erase any memory of Amalek, which means men, women, and children, the Torah says, do not have the right to exist.
They have bombed a hospital. They're saying nearly 1,000 people at least have been killed. How is this happening? Over 1,000 children are dead and we are sitting back and letting it happen.
عمركم سمعتوا عن أتباع دين بينصروا دينهم ونبيهم والله اللي بيعبدوه بالقتل والسرقة والاغتصاب والخطف؟
אנחנו מטילים מצור מוחלט על העיר עזה. אין חשמל, אין מזון, אין מים, אין דלק. הכל סגור. אנחנו נלחמים בחיות אדם ואנחנו נוהגים בהתאם.
They're animals, they're savages. All they understand is violence. We have to bomb them. We have to spend $14 billion murdering their children and their women. That's what the monsters on TV say. And then, but we're worried about young people don't want to kill enough civilians. Young people don't want to murder enough civilians, and Nikki Haley's concerned about it. Warhawk, neocon, monster. And by the way, right wing, you want to, America first, you want to spend $14 billion to get us into another war? We could have that for healthcare for our kids, education for our kids, higher wages, but all you want to do is you want to send it to Israel to kill more Palestinian children? Are you insane? And I bet you a lot of the right wing say, no, I don't want it. I don't want it. It hasn't passed the Senate yet. It should never pass the Senate. I don't want my dollars going to murder Palestinians. I don't want it. Okay, so now let's talk back to Gaza. So Israel says, oh, it's okay. Oh, we're just moving the citizens. We're just doing mass deportations and ethnic cleansing. It's no big deal. We're just moving them to the south. And now they're bombing the hell out of the south. Is there any human beings left in Washington, D.C.? You monsters. You're going to send them $14 billion of our money? Say, oh yeah, relocate everybody from the north. Classic genocide. Genocide 101. And now they're bombing the hell out of the people who moved to the south. And I'm supposed to pay for that? No way, man. I don't know look, I'm trying as hard as I can to bring change here. You know what they did to the men? They went in, they grabbed the men, brought them out in public, stripped them down to their underwear, and then started taking pictures of them. No charges. No reason to believe that any of those guys are terrorists. And now people are putting out on social media, that one's a doctor, that one's a teacher, that one's a businessman, et cetera, et cetera. This kind of daily humiliation. How much can people take of this? And then they say, you have to love Israel. Oh, they hate Israel. We have to murder them. We have to occupy them for 50 freaking years. Can you believe they hate Israel? Who could suffer this and then not hate Israel? What are they supposed to love Israel? What kind of maniac, what kind of lunatic thinks, oh yeah, after we murder your family and we strip you down naked and take pictures of you and mock you, oh, then you're supposed to love me. Oh, you don't love me enough. That's it. I'm going to kill you again. No, we should send $0 to Israel. Zero. This is not an ally.
بده يجي ببساطة بالقرآن لمحمد ولأتباعه ويقول له قاتلوهم واقتلوهم وصلبوا اللي ما بده يآمن بالله ورسوله، ضرب الرقاب وقطع. شوفي ليه؟
I'm never going to forget the footage of the doctor who was helping in the middle of treating this infant who is connected to all kinds of machinery, who was the victim of a bombing. I will never forget him getting word that his own baby boy was killed, and he walked over in the same hospital to the morgue to identify his baby boy's body.
Again, when I studied the life of Muhammad, in 10 years, he waged 83 wars in 10 years, 27 wars and 56 raids in 10 years. And you are going to teach me that Islam is peaceful? No, it's not peaceful.
I don't understand how anyone can be silent right now. I really just, I can't wrap my mind around it. I can't wrap my mind around how you're still posting pictures of your lunch to social media and you've said nothing about the genocide in Gaza.
إلهنا وإله اليهود واحد.
I'm a Jewish American who grew up in a conservative synagogue. I just grew up believing that Israel was for the Jewish people. This belief that they and me, us Jews, even American Jews, Jews of the diaspora, are somehow more rightful citizens of the land than Palestinians is delusional and, quite frankly, is insane.
And the only reason I ever believed you is because you propagandized me heavily from the moment I was born. You didn't give me both sides of the story so that I could choose where I align myself with. You told me one version of your story, the version you wanted me to hear, believe, fight and die for.
I've been taught my whole life that Israel was supposed to be our safe space, but no one ever taught me about the Nakba.
We, as Jews, went through this whole history and are now doing this to a whole other group of people. If you're a Jew and you think this is okay, you are not Jewish. You are a Zionist.
Israelis, anti-Zionists, we are really in a problem right now because the fascization of Israel has gone into a new stage. We're scared of the government, we're scared of the army, of the police. We cannot go into the streets, the media is suppressing us.
I have family that were killed by Nazis, and when we said never again, that means never again for everybody. It's an ethnic cleansing. The Nakba never ended. It's one long Nakba. Gaza is 70% refugees. It's where Israel dumped all the people after the Nakba, and now they bomb those same people.
إلهنا وإله اليهود واحد.
Why is it a problem? It's only a problem when Israelis die. Why is it not a problem when Palestinians die? Tell me why. The media only mentions the deaths of the Israelis. They don't want to mention the deaths of the Palestinians. Why? Why? I'm so disgusted. It's only a problem what Hamas is doing, but it's not a problem what the IDF is doing and the Israeli settlers. They're colonizing. They're colonizing land. They're taking over land. They're killing kids. And then it's so funny when the media is like, oh, here they're killing women and children, etc., etc. Israel's been doing that for decades, bro. Why is it only a problem when Hamas tries to come back? Bruh, make that make sense, because it sure the fuck doesn't. Our media fucking suck.
بده يجي ببساطة بالقرآن لمحمد ولأتباعه ويقول له قاتلوهم واقتلوهم وصلبوا اللي ما بده يآمن بالله ورسوله، ضرب الرقاب وقطع. شوفي ليه؟
I made a video explaining how the attack on Israel was not unprovoked. And I've been bombarded with comments and messages that I'm justifying the violence. What I was doing was explaining how what happened wasn't about anti-Semitism or random terrorism, but a response of resistance after decades of violent Palestinian dehumanization. When Palestinian children are murdered by Israeli forces, they say, well, Hamas was using them as human shields. That's justifying murder. When journalist Shirin Abu Akleh was killed by Israeli forces and people said, well, she was in the wrong place at the wrong time, that was justifying murder. When Israeli settlers violently destroyed the town of Huara and said, well, it happened because brothers were killed, that was justifying violence. Israel has been justifying its violence against Palestinians for 75 years. For me, there is no justification for violence. That's why I speak out as a Jew against the occupation. And if you're against violence, then please Join me in standing up against the occupation, the source of all this violence. Because if you don't, then guess what? You're not against violence. You're just against Arabs.
But the problem that we have in Islam is that these passages of the Quran that are problematic, passages of Muhammad's traditions that are problematic, they are still considered to be in force by very large numbers of Muslims, such that all the major terrorist groups around the world are Islamic groups.
Terrorist, I hate this word terrorist. I can't stand this word because it's only used on Muslims. I haven't heard that word terrorist used from any other freaking nation, color, or religion. Only Muslims get the word terrorist. Why? Why do you not question these things when you read them? And all the propaganda coming from Israel. Fathers are dying, mothers are dying, grandparents are outliving the freaking rest of their own generation. There's a second Nakba happening right now.
Before this situation happened, my opinion of the Israel versus Palestine issue is that Israel was the good guys and everybody was trying to kill them. And they were surrounded by a bunch of Arab terrorists in all these different countries. And the people in Gaza and the West Bank were mostly terrorists, Muslim terrorists, who just wanted to kill all the Jewish people, or they were protecting terrorists, one or the other, okay? That was my knowledge. That is what has been fed to me in the United States of America for the 54 years of my life. Now, I have educated myself on the situation. I know about Nakba and Tantura.
בטנטורה תפסנו הרבה ערבים, אספנו אותם. קומו, קומו, הם קמו. הרג את כולם. הכפר נמחק. שאכן אמרו שהיה טבח.
إلهنا وإله اليهود واحد.
What happened here wasn't only pushing away the Palestinians from their village. What happened here is that they did not let the Palestinians go away just like this. They first of all killed many of them, and there was not any reason to do it.
או אני או הם. מדינה לוקחים עם חרב. המדינה נתמית השווי.
כמה אתה חושב אנשים הרגת ככה?
לא ספרתי. אני לא יכול לדעת בחיי. היה לי מקלע עם 250 כדורים. תראה, יריתי, נלחמתי כולם. אני לא יכול לספור.
عمركم سمعتوا عن أتباع دين بينصروا دينهم ونبيهم والله اللي بيعبدوه بالقتل والسرقة والاغتصاب والخطف؟
הרגנו בהם, בלי נקיפת מצפון. מצב נוראי, התעללו בהם ולקחו להם את איברי המין ותקעו להם בפיות. אחד אנס שם איזה ילדה בת 16, משהו כזה. היו חבר'ה שלקחו את הלוויורים ורדפו אחרי חבר'ה ושרפו אותם. זה היה משהו זוועתי וזה אסור לספר, אני לא אדבר על זה, כי זה יכול להיות סקנדל שלם מהעניין הזה.
إلهنا وإله اليهود واحد. كتاب واحد، إله واحد، رب ومعبود واحد.
ואנחנו מוכנים להיכנס לבידוד בינלאומי, ומוכנים לריב עם ארצות הברית, ומוכנים לריב עם כל העולם ואחותו. כמה שנצטרך עד שכולכם, כולל כל התומכים שלכם, תעלו לפגוש את אללה, אנחנו נהרוג. שיהיה ברור, שיהיה ברור, זה המצב בישראל, זה הסנטימנט. אז תחגגו ברשתות החברתיות, תעשו פרי פלסטיין, תעשו את כל המסכנות שלכם, ואנחנו נבוא להשמיד אתכם. להשמיד. תעבירו את זה, תריצו את הסרטון הזה, שיראו כל החברים שלכם. מה אנחנו עומדים לעשות?
Palestinian people have been undergoing this for 75 years. This is no different than anything else that they've gone through for 75 years. Entire generations. Okay? What's different about it this time? Westerners are finally speaking up. And unfortunately, that's the only thing the Palestinians can do to get their message out to the world, because the Zionist Israelis have a hold on the information networks and always have. That has now disappeared. And they're still trying desperately to frame the narrative on social media, but now people are seeing through it. Now we have things like TikTok where we can screenshot Israel's statements that they put out where they claim that they did bomb the hospital, and then we can see them delete them, and then we can see them come up with a new one that's this is a video, and then we can prove that the video is fake, and then we can follow everything that's happening. All we got to do is open our eyes and start looking, okay? America is in bed with the Zionist Jewish lobby. And we see that now, and we are going to dry that funding up, let me tell you. It may seem like, we've been trying to do this for years and years and years and years, but it just never works. Yeah, it's going to work now because white people like myself are finally telling the story of the Palestinian people. That's what's going to happen. And it's gross. It's disgusting that that's what it takes. But it's here. And we are going to hold them accountable. Like, I'm just one guy with a small platform. But let me tell you, there's more of me and more of me and more of me. And I'm going to keep educating people, and they're going to keep educating people. And we're all going to just say, we will no longer vote for anybody who funds Israel.
لأنه وفق النبوءات هو بعينه أنه يدخل على أورشليم ويقعد كإله ليعلوا اسم الله بهذا المكان. فمضطرين يقتلوا كل يهودي ومسيحي. لما المسيح بذاته بيقول لأن الخلاص هو من اليهود. فاليوم أنت كمسيحي وين بتكون؟
Growing up as a white Christian conservative in the United States, ever since I was a kid, I was taught to have this blinding, unwavering loyalty, fealty to Israel. I was conditioned to believe that Israel was the promised land and the Israelis were God's chosen people, and all the Arabs surrounding Israel just wanted to annihilate them and wipe them completely off the map. We were taught that Muhammad was a false prophet and those who were worshiping to Allah were worshiping to the wrong God. And we were taught that we were supposed to pledge allegiance to the United States, support the American military and their endeavors all across the world, but especially in the Middle East, and their support for Israel. We were supposed to back that no matter what. And to question anything would be un-American. But now that I'm older and we have access to the world at our fingertips and I can see with my own two eyes what is going on, I began to question everything. I realized that we bought the lie that Western media propagates to us. We bought the lie that the American church or the Western church propagates to us. I don't believe in the duality of the world. I don't believe that we are good, that America's good, that Christians are good, that Jewish people are good, and that Arabs and Muslims are bad and evil. We've always been taught that Arabs, Palestinians, they're jihadists, they're terrorists, they're thugs, they're predators, they're savages. These are the words that we've always used to describe human beings. We are taught that Israel has the right to self-defense, that they are morally superior in this battle. But I now realize that he who controls the media controls the masses, and Israel has the power to not only control the narrative, but to control the way that the war is fought. We are taught that this war started from a Hamas terrorist attack on October 7th, but in reality, this war started 75 years ago, with the start of the ethnic cleansing of the Palestinian people and the stealing of their land. I've had to do so much deconstruction and deprogramming of everything that I've ever been taught, everything that I've ever been indoctrinated with, living in the South of the United States.
مع مين بتوقف؟ إيمانياً مع مين بتوقف؟
I've said it since day one, and I'll say it again. I will always stand on the side of the oppressed and free Palestine.
אז תחגגו ברשתות החברתיות, תעשו פרי פלסטיין, תעשו את כל המסכנות שלכם, ואנחנו נבוא להשמיד אתכם. להשמיד.
رح يكتب التاريخ عن أعظم قصة صبر شافتها البشرية بعصرنا الحالي. صبر خلى الناس كلها تبحث عن مصدر هالإيمان العظيم، وخلاهم يتعرفوا على القرآن الكريم، الرسالة الخاتمة لكل أهل الأرض اللي تعرفوا فيها على الله الواحد الأحد وأسلموا لله ونطقوا الشهادة أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وأن محمد رسول الله، رغم أنف كل عدو لله ورسوله بهالأرض.
أخذ الله ووضع بالقرآن تبعه أسماء الرب الإله الحقيقي وجعل له. ليه؟ لأنه الشيطان حلمه منذ الأزل أنه يرفع كرسيه ويكون إله. فالقدير، الجبار، العزيز، المهيمن إلى آخره، هدول أسماء وصفات الإله الخالق الحقيقي. أخذهم الله لحتى يضلل إن أمكن حتى المختارين. فباسمي وباسم كنيستي رح أقوم بتسجيل الكتاب المقدس بالصوت والصورة، أوديو وفيديو للكتاب المقدس، محذوف منه تماما لفظ إله قريش، الله، معبود الوثنيين قديما، لأنه ليس إلهنا وليس ربنا.
But Allah in the Quran feels like what I wanted a God for me to be. And the amount of times in the Quran that he reiterates that he is merciful and forgiving, and that he knows us. He knows us. And the God of the Bible said that too, but it was always under threat. And I would rather worship someone. If I'm going to accept the idea that there is an entity out there that I should worship, I would rather worship someone who is kind and rules with love and not with fear. I don't know what will come from this. I know my heart has been pulled to this, and I don't think that is something that I should take lightly. I did find a mosque nearby that I am hoping I will be able to reach out and just get some clarification on things.
I haven't done my shahada yet.
But every single time that I have to give you guys a new Gaza update, I get closer and closer to Islam. I don't have anything else that's bringing me peace right now but the Quran.
I saw a video of a woman, she's holding her child and her child had passed away. She was thanking God at that moment and she's saying Allahu Akbar and she's saying in Arabic, from you we came and to you we will return, and just thanking God so much in that moment. And I said, I don't think I could do that. I don't think my faith is strong enough that I could thank God at that moment. So I said, how is her faith so strong? So that's what really inspired me to read the Quran, because especially as a mother, to be holding my child in my arms and thanking God, because even though my child is gone, I don't know. I don't think I could do that at that moment. Incredible how much the Palestinian people, the Palestinian Muslims have inspired the world. So I said, I need to read this book they're talking about, the Quran. I need to read this and see what is it that they believe in to be this steadfast in their faith. So I just opened it out of curiosity as a Christian of 25 years. And literally the first sentence, I was just blown away. Like, I felt like it was speaking directly to me. I felt like God sent this book, like God was speaking to me through the words. It was just incredible.
كل العالم مع اليهود لكن احنا الله معانا. كل ابواب انفتحت لبني صهيون وسكر الجبال الفلسطينيه، لكن باب الله معانا. النصر إلنا، النصر إلنا. بدناش أي واحد يعطف علينا. معانا الله. والله قال في القرآن: لنبلونكم بشيء من الخوف والجوع ونقص من الأموال والأنفس والثمرات وبشر الصابرين.
الله يرحمه. بس هي الشهداء. الله يرحمهم. الله يقبلهم. ما تعيطش يا زلمه. انت زلمه. كلنا شهداء، كلنا مشاريع شهداء. كلنا مشاريع شهداء. قول إنا لله وإنا إليه راجعون. اللهم أجرني في مصيبتي واخلفني من خير منها. مش خسارة في ربنا. الله خلقنا والله بياخدنا. الله يفعل ما يريد واحنا الحمد لله صابرين.
So earlier today I made a video saying how impressed I was with Palestinian faith, because it just seems that Palestinians have this ironclad faith even in the face of losing quite literally everything. And people were commenting underneath saying, well, yeah, girl, that's Islam. Have you read the Quran? You should probably read the Quran.
احنا بنزل علينا صاروخ وزنه 1000 طن بنقول الله اكبر والنصر المقاومه، بنشيع شهدائنا بنقول بنروح بالدم نفديك يا اقصى. اليوم احنا اخذنا عاتقنا مرحله التحرير بدها دماء، بدها شهداء، احنا مستعدين يا رب. بنقول يا رب خذ من دمائنا حتى ترضى، يا رب خذ من ارواحنا حتى ترضى، يا رب خذ من اولادنا حتى ترضى، يا رب خذ من اطفالي حتى ترضى.
يا رب تجمعنا فيهم عن قريب يا رب. يا رب تجمعنا فيهم عن قريب. الحمد لله.
They're still saying Alhamdulillah.
Alhamdulillah. Alhamdulillah.
Muslim Palestinians still seeing them say Allah is all knowing.
I know these people were blessed.
روح الروح هذه، روح الروح. لا حول ولا قوة. هذه روح الروح.
And he was standing there, he was holding her with such tenderness. And he brushed his beard on her forehead in such a way that you knew made her giggle. It was probably a tease between the two of them. She loved her papa and he loved her. You just knew it. He held her close to him and he spoke. And he pulled her back a little bit and he opened her eyes to look at them. And he kissed them. And he kissed her. And he rocked her. And he whispered to her. And he smiled. And then he laid his soul and watched it be wrapped in a shroud and in plastic. Her name is Reem, and she is one of over 4,000 children. One of the tens of thousands of Palestinians. I will never forget that moment, and I will never forget him. What the fuck have we become?
One thing I've noticed, and you've probably noticed it too, you know, they say that a tree is known by its fruit. And I've noticed that the Palestinians bear such sweet fruit. And if there is a God, I believe that the Palestinians and Muslims are God's chosen people. I see evidence of God amongst them, in their behavior, in their hearts, their compassion. They are truly beautiful people. And I spent 11 years in a conservative Christian church, and I never saw that kind of fruit. Nope, not even close. But they just display this godliness that makes it even worse, because forces of evil are committing acts of atrocities against these sweet people. And I think that's what drives us to push harder and fight harder for their justice because they deserve it. They haven't done anything wrong. And if there is a God, those are his people.
خالق السماوات والأرض هو موجود بالكتاب المقدس الوحيد المقدس على الأرض. لا تخلوا حدا يضللكم بكتاب آخر عم تشوفوا هلاك ولادكم اللي عم يقروا يحفظوه بعيونكم. هون بتلاقوا إله إبراهيم وإسحاق ويعقوب الحقيقي قبل تزوير وتشويه وتحريف قصصه بقرآنكم.
رغم أنف كل عدو لله ورسوله بهالأرض.
I'm an atheist, but I just ordered a Quran. Because if that book can make those people as resilient as they are, then I want to read it.
You know, this entire thing with Palestine, many more people are learning about Islam. So many more people are reading the Quran. You're gonna have a lot of people turning to Islam.
I just bought my first copy of the Quran.
I got the Quran. I started reading the Quran.
It's my day 2 in reading the Quran. Seeing the brave Palestine people as they're losing everything. So much faith and peace while their families are being murdered.
United States, we need a lot more empathy and understanding of Muslims in the Arab world.
I need to know what y'all put in Islam, okay?
Just from reading the second surah, I'm like, I get it. I understand why there's such a steadfastness to anyone that follows Islam. Being shown just how wrong we were about this faith and how rich, how deep, and just the language of it. Oh, how fluid and beautiful it is.
We've been lied to, the Western people. And I took my Shahada. I feel tremendous peace. I'm going to be reading it forever.
أصلا الله هذا اللفظ هو مانو للخالق، مانو لخالق السماوات والأرض، مانو للقادر على كل شيء، مانو للرب الإله الحق الحقيقي. اسم إلهنا وفق الكتاب المقدس هو يهوه.
رغم أنف كل عدو لله ورسوله بهالأرض.
But what I do see, even from everything that's currently going on right now, is how much the Palestinians worship Allah, how much they still worship him even after the terrible things that are being committed against them currently. And all I know is that I want to have that type of faith.
Like, we're being blocked.
I'm not even a Muslim yet, but I just did my first salah from all of your help, and I literally started crying at the end.
That I basically, when I did that video, became Muslim, and I'm not gonna cry. I'm gonna cry. And I'm serious about becoming Muslim. I'm very serious. I was a devout atheist before, but I've done so much research on the Muslim faith, and it's so beautiful.
So I want to know if I'm meant to be a Muslim before I tell my family. And I have decided that I do want to be Muslim.
Guys, I'm a Muslim today!
بسم الله. أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وأشهد أن محمدا رسول الله.
يا الله يا الله، عم بتشوفوا يا جماعة اللي أنا عم شوفه بالأرض؟ عم بتشوفوا هيمنة الله سبحانه وتعالى وسيطرته على هالوجود. عم تستشعروا معنى قوله جل جلاله في القرآن الكريم: والله غالب على أمره ولكن أكثر الناس لا يعلمون. عم تستشعروا قوله جل جلاله: يريدون أن يطفئوا نور الله بأفواههم ويأبى الله إلا أن يتم نوره ولو كره الكافرون. هو الذي أرسل رسوله بالهدى ودين الحق ليظهره على الدين كله ولو كره المشركون. والله الذي لا إله إلا هو، لو كشف الحجاب وشفنا المكتوب عند الله عز وجل وشفنا ليه صار هيك بغزة وبأهلها، والله لاخترنا الواقع ولقلنا الحمد لله. اللهم لك الحمد على هالخير العظيم. يا جماعة أنتم شايفين شو عم بيصير بالأرض؟ يعني الله سبحانه وتعالى مش بس أكرم أهل غزة بالشهادة في سبيله سبحانه وتعالى وبالفردوس الأعلى، بل أفرغ عليهم صبرا تعجب العالم كله منه، وخليهم جل جلاله يكونوا سبب بهداية الناس. ولأن يهدي الله بك رجلا واحدا خير لك من حمر النعم، خير لك مما طلعت عليه الشمس. الله أكبر سبحانه جل جلاله في علاه تبارك وتعالى. لكل حبيب، لكل صديق، لكل قريب مسيحي بيعرف اللغة العربية. شوف الغرب كيف عم يتمعنوا بكلام القرآن، شوف كيف عرفوا الهداية وعرفوا الإسلام وعرفوا طريق الله عز وجل وأسلموا ونجوا أنفسهم. وأنتوا أحق منهم بالإسلام لأنكم بتعرفوا اللغة العربية. أنت بدكم تستشعروا هالمعاني العظيمة وتعرفوا أنه اليهود خدعوكم وحرفوا التوراة والإنجيل وبعدهم عم بيجندوا أتباعهم تيضلوكم، وإنهم عم يعملوا كل هيدا بالأرض تحضيرا للمسيح الدجال اللي ناطرينه. وإذا منكم مصدقين شوفوا معي هالفيديو الأخير.
Kabbalah, the entire thing is separation of people to Israelitic and non-Israelitic according to the book called Jewish Utopia. Now, they are building their own kingdom. It's the Jewish earthly kingdom with headquarters in Jerusalem, where their AI Messiah will be, and they're going to rule the world through the law. You know, it will be international, one law, one religion, basically Luciferian religion. So yes, in a Talmud, this is the Jewish earthly kingdom, and this is why the Zionist Christianity have embraced Chileism. They have embraced, or Chileism, I don't know how you would say.
Chileism.
Which
means 1,000.
Right,
Where they get the 1,000-year millennial reign.
Exactly, which is a focus on earthly millennial kingdom. And this is how Jews and Christians are getting together, and Christians are so deceived, thinking that they are working for the good thing, for the Jews, like they're helping the Jews. The Jews are supposed to get this kingdom. Yet this is Zoharic doctrine, and it does not have good intention. As I said, that they want to rule the world, they want to get Gentile riches, and they want to rule the Gentiles. They don't consider Gentiles fully human beings, and in fact, as an end game, they have this strange doctrine, Adam Kadmon doctrine, which Adam Kadmon originally was, according to Zohar and Talmud, he was androgynous. You know, Adam, like he wasn't male, or he was male female in one body, and this is why you see this transgender agenda today, and there are laws, very serious laws, passing in Alberta, Canada.
Is Zionism behind the transgender movement? Does the transgender movement get its origin in Zionism?
Yes, it gets its origin in Zionism, and it gets its origin in the Talmud, Zohar, and Kabbalah. It's a Kabbalistic doctrine of Adam Kadmon, which is eventually they have this doctrine called Tikkun Olam, repairing the world. Yes. So how do they want to repair the world? They want to bring it to the original. Who was original? Adam. He was androgynous. So now they're putting specific things in food and drink, and they're basically their end game is to make humans that on Earth that will survive whatever it is they're bringing androgynous. The transgender agenda.
What they're really trying to do is undo God's creation.
Exactly.
ب7 تشرين الأول 2023 انكتب بداية تاريخ جديد، تاريخ غير فيه الله سبحانه وتعالى العالم وفتح عيون كتير من الناس الضالة، وناس كتير فضلت العمى على الهدى، ليكون هالتاريخ هو بداية النهاية، نهاية اليهود الصهاينة يلي نبأنا فيها النبي عليه الصلاة والسلام من أكثر من 1400 سنة، حتى يقول الحجر والشجر يا مسلم يا عبد الله وراء يهودي تعالى واقتله. فهنيئا لكل إنسان فكر واعتبر وأسلم وآمن واشتغل لنصرة الحق بهالأرض، وتعسا لكل إنسان حارب الله ورسوله دين الإسلام. وتأكدوا أنه أهم من يلي رح يكتبوا التاريخ على مر العصور هو اللي رح تكتبوا الملائكة عليهم السلام بكتاب كل واحد من هالبشر. ويوم القيامة رح يوضع هالكتاب ويشهد على المجرمين شو عملوا من إفساد وإجرام وإضلال بهالأرض، كما قال جل جلاله ووضع الكتاب فترى المجرمين مشفقين مما فيه ويقولون يا ويلتنا يا ويلتنا ما لهذا الكتاب لا يغادر صغيرة ولا كبيرة إلا أحصاها ووجدوا ما عملوا حاضرا ولا يظلم ربك أحدا. ولوقت ما يجي هاليوم الله سبحانه وتعالى أوحى للنبي محمد عليه الصلاة والسلام في القرآن الكريم حتى يقلكم قل فانتظروا إني معكم من المنتظرين.